Hello, everyone. I'm Karissa Dunham with Shining Light on Minnesota. Today we have a very special guest, somebody that I see all the time, very frequently, John O Phelan with Ramsey County. Welcome, John.
Welcome, Karissa. Thanks for having me here. This is fun.
Yeah, this is a new
My
experience.
first podcast. It's
Yeah,
fun.
super exciting. So let's start off by telling our viewers and everybody listening a little bit about what your role is at Ramsey County and what all you do there.
Yeah, some of the work I've done basically the last 20 years, but especially the last 5 has been a concentration of, I did a lot of years with workforce in the construction industry,
Yep.
getting people into, different careers and figuring out where their past experience can be transferred.
Yes.
And how to get trained for their new careers. And built great relationships with all the unions that are out there that do apprenticeship programs. Loads of contractors that look for that workforce, that quality workforce, and also just other businesses. I've schools, lots of community training programs. I'm a data guy, so I'll just go one more further with this.
Yes.
There's about 50 touch points of construction career training just
Wow.
in our metro area.
That's amazing.
So I'll break that down for you.
Yes.
23 are joint apprenticeship training centers, which would be the union apprenticeship training centers. And then we have 9 community technical colleges in our area. And then there's typically about 20 community-based programs that teach some type or some form of construction
Amazing.
or hands-on related to our industry. Or you may hear me talk about the energy and environmental industry as
Yes.
they intertwine with each other. So that's a lot,
That
right?
is
I
a
mean,
lot.
to have
Nobody
that-
realizes that, or when you sit back and think about it, you're like, I didn't even know all that existed. I mean, you do
Yeah.
because you see it every day and you're out there doing it every day. What do you see for people when they're out there trying to transition or trying to get into the construction world? What paths have they been taking lately, or what do you see them doing?
Well, the trends that our current trend right now in our industry, in the construction part of our industry, and a little bit of environment, and is a little bit pause and hold.
Yeah.
So people are saying, well, what now, or where do I go, or where can I get some beginner, career steps,
Yeah.
or how do I transfer? Because right now we're a little bit on a pause and
Yes.
hold. And so we've been trying to explore with folks, what does this mean in regards to like building maintenance
Right.
positions?
Yeah.
What type of energy and I'm pausing here because I'm thinking of some other things like parks and rec.
Yes.
Positions,
Yep.
things that you're kind of outdoors, soil and water technicians,
Yeah.
things that are maybe not attributed right to our construction trades,
Right.
but how
But
do you
the
take
hands-on,
that
how do you
person
take
that
those?
wants that hands-on,
Yeah.
be outside,
Yep.
play around a little bit with some technology, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe go back to the lab or the office, or just stay on
Or a little
site.
hybrid, kind of both.
Yeah,
right?
a little bit of hybrid. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out where does that person fit in this current pause and hold
Right.
economy
And
for them.
Is it really going to be the best step for them too? I think that's the other side of it when you're out there trying to find the right position, whether it's hands-on, out in the field, outdoor. Is that ideally what lane that they'd be a good fit for? They might think that they are, but it's sometimes trial and error too. So it's interesting to see how that all revolves.
Yeah, and personality types, I will sometimes speak in classrooms, and I talk about that. I'll show pictures of somebody on their knees
Yeah.
inside, saying, "Are you if you want to be a floor cover, you'll be able to see your artwork.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your knees all day, but you might be at 5 below,
Right.
laying a floor, or do you want to be outside, on a roof,
Yep.
outside
In
all
the middle
time,
of summer,
in the
winter,
heights,
whatever it might be. Yep.
So it really is. It becomes our own personal passion of where we see ourselves
Yeah.
in that.
Well, and they have to see the highs and lows of what's included on any job, just like your everyday life. Like there's going to be the ebbs and flows. Yes, it might be beautiful that you're out installing floors or you're out, doing roofing, but you have to think of the heat, the weather, the dexterity, like all the different movements and trials and tribulations that go along with it too. It's not just a beautiful world always.
Yeah, the elements, right?
Yep, right.
So, Yeah, so we look at a lot of that with our folks that come in. We are seeing a more of an increase of folks just trying to figure out like where do I fit in this economy because we're kind of slowing down here.
Yeah, yep.
And so we know training is going to be really more important right now.
Right.
Trying to shape shift that person into their next career path.
Well, and not everybody knows or realizes, the shifts that are happening, the pauses that are going on right now. Once they are trained and fully ready for that position, it might be a different position when you get out there than what you're actually expecting to be at. So, yes.
That's right. The technology, right?
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah. There's an interesting term that I've used with some other folks, but it's the econometric model.
Okay.
And econometric is using economic theories, mathematical theories, along with a little bit of social concern or social variables or environmental variables that might lead into that. So in our industry, we all know there's politics, there's climate, there's retention, there's retirements, there's it's all attributed to the supply and demand factor.
For sure.
And and how do those flow throughout those different elements, those variables within that model? And so that's been a interesting thing in my career to try to crack. Like, how do we crack the supply and demand? So
absolutely. Well, and the different generations that are out there too, from the Gen Zs to the Gen Xers, the baby boomers, everything like that. How do you make them all work together hand in hand? Yeah. That's its own niche, right?
That's right. Which is, I think, you were there. We just had a generations in the workplace for the construction industry. Talked about the Xers, the Zs, the millennials, and the boomers, and where they all play a key role. We know technology and the younger generation is important, and it's important to our industry. And in fact, on the Associated General Contractors annual report, technology always comes out as a very high rating for a positive change.
Yes. Yep.
But and we've had actually symposiums about technology. How do you get into it?
Right.
Is it drones? Is it BIM? Is it autonomous equipment? Is it robotics?
Or is it training the technology? Like, you're still a people person. You still have to know it and understand it, but to get out there and just jump in. And try it too.
Jump on and figure it out. And those generations do have their different their different pieces. I was in a concrete manufacturing facility a couple of years ago, and the person who's finishing concrete is almost running a control thing like an Xbox.
Yeah, yep. And it's all AI generated. The floor's level. Here's your highs and lows of the flooring. Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting too. I mean, with all the gaps that are out there, and seeing the younger, more specifically the older generations that are or were expecting to hand their businesses down to their family, to their sons, their grandkids, whomever it is. And the younger generation have seen the highs and lows and the trials and tribulations of owning a business and where you're at and where you've gone, whether it's farming or construction or whatever. And they don't want anything to do with it. So then it's like, okay, what do I do? Like, this is my baby. Do I sell it? Do I try to find a buyer and still work here? What does that look like?
Yeah, succession planning is something for all industries that are just critical, because you do. I grew up in the food industry. I still kind of play around in it at the farmer's market. But just watching a real good friend of mine run that restaurant and run the farmer's market, run the state fair stands and all that stuff, and spending all that time is it's tough. And so you have to get that right person that wants to commit themselves.
People look at you, they look at me, they see connecting people that are out there in the communities. All of the events that you've been doing lately, all of the time put into it. A lot of times when people are out there, they just see, hey, John's out and about doing what John's doing, but they don't see the back end stuff like, hey, I've got 6 events I'm trying to put on, trying to host, trying to make sure people show up for, whether it's training and everything else. Tell people a little bit about your role in having those events and what those processes look like.
Yeah, so another part of my job, we spoke a little bit about workforce, is small business development. Yep. And in both areas, well, that's been about the last 5 years, even though I used to lean, I still lean a lot on Barb Lau from the Association of Women Contractors. Yep. And we've been throughout the years on projects where I kind of come in a little bit as the workforce expert and her as a small business expert, and we're able to ask questions. And the way I've been able to understand questions or ask questions or have a deeper understanding of it is all the people have taught me along the way
Right.
to say, and to show me how our industry works.
Let's see how it's done. Yes. Yep.
And so that has been a very great blessing in order for me then to do the role of a connector.
Right.
I consider myself a connector.
Yep.
And I love being in the background, love
Right.
planning the events, but then like that's what I was saying earlier, it's hard to be on the podcast because
Yeah.
I'm usually not out in the front, but
Right.
love just knowing that we're pulling people together
For sure.
and that people are able to make connections to make that next move.
Right.
And so on the small business side, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question,
Yeah.
but it
Yep.
reminds me of the small business side, is once you get people connected, what happens then? Are they able to get a contract, or are they able to
Right.
get a connection that
Right.
maybe later on leads them to a contract?
Right.
This stuff is all about human behavior.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of businesses about this. I call it planting seeds in the desert.
Right.
It takes a while to have them bloom.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
you still have to come and
You're still a
plant
farmer, you're
them
still
and
the
work
hunter and the
them
gatherer.
and
Yep.
be there and nurture them and make sure that they at one point can grow. And so that's a critical component. And so for businesses to show up at these events
Yeah.
and to even break our own human behaviors,
Right.
we all order the same menu item a lot of times when we get used to it.
Yep.
That you hear people say sit in the same church pew
Yeah.
or the same restaurant booth or do the same thing. Well, when you're going to try to get a new business to purchase from somebody who's so used to calling that same person
Right.
over and over.
Yep.
It takes 3 to 5 just good, strong, healthy introductions to that person to say, well,
Absolutely.
maybe I will try this person out. And so usually it's not just the one touch point.
No,
it's
and
3,
it's-
4, 5 touch points.
Well, and it's just
You know.
being there, being a person, being a human being. But it's the more times you're in front of somebody and you're omnipresent, somewhere down the line it's going to click and it's going to be like, hey, my guy's not available. Can you just, can you walk me through the process and how it's done? Or answering questions or just being there, being that person and connecting people together in any role or being a why it's really important in our world.
It
I think,
is.
yeah.
It is. And I've seen that. I've seen when businesses do show up,
Yeah.
that it does work.
Yep.
And I couldn't encourage the small business community to really step up. Karissa, you're a awesome example of that. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you're at everything.
I am, yeah.
And you want your business to grow, right? So
Absolutely,
you're
yeah.
here to do that and make that connection
Yeah.
and keep that familiar face so they do call you.
Well, and it's also on my end when I do show up and I see somebody that's struggling or I know they need somebody or they want to talk to somebody or they want to get through to somebody, let me introduce you. Because you start to know people, you start to see people and understand people, you know their roles, you ask those questions, but then it's like, hey, somebody wants Ramsey County. Okay, let me put you in touch with John O Phelan. Like he's standing right here. Let's make that introduction. Yes.
Yeah. The networking is just solid that way. And yeah, we've heard, I've seen other people just bloom real well by doing that,
Yeah.
but it's so much effort. I mean, you're running
It
a
is.
business and you're, all those hours, even like we talked about the different industries, a business owner,
Yeah.
they really, you really have to step up. And so, but that is where I've seen the most success is that somebody like me creating the connections to have it occur and
Right.
then that person showing up and showing up and
And
showing
that's what's
up.
important. It's like you put in all the time and effort into doing your events. You want people to show up, but you also want the consistency of like, I know what I'm doing. I know what works. So when I'm doing something, more and more people will show up because they know, hey, this works. Like, let's go to a job fair. Let's have a career fair. Let's, do a certified small business SADBOC or whatever it may be. Let's get people in the door because you are trying to help and make a difference.
Yeah, and change
Right?
if we
Yeah,
can. Always we're
absolutely.
trying to figure out what is the best model for our small businesses. So in the construction industry, so to speak, is we know that a lot of things happen in the spring, which means that bids happen in late winter.
Yep.
So now we're looking at the open house that we just had an open house, Ramsey County did.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few approaches that we've been trying to take on with this open house. We
Yeah.
not only have invited our departments
Yep.
to come, which would be like our Parks and Rec, Public Works, Property Management, Economic Development, folks like that. Not only that, but is there, where do small businesses, where can't they access?
Right.
So is there cities? So we had the city of Roseville, city of
Yes.
Maplewood. My goal is to have 80% of our Ramsey County businesses at that event in the
Awesome.
next 3 years.
Yes, absolutely.
So then a small business has more opportunities, because where do you knock on a small city, right?
Right.
Where do you start?
Do you go into City Hall and just start knocking on the doors, being like, "Hey, I'm a small
Right.
business."
And we have more of the infrastructure. So that's one of the strategies that we're trying to work to bring that to our community,
Right.
and see if we can make a change there. The other piece, and I think this is critical, is back to me being a connector.
Yeah.
I'm not the expert. I don't know
Right.
engineer talk.
No.
I don't know, trail talk, things like that. So who do we need there? Well,
Yeah.
we need our landscape architects.
Yeah.
We need our engineers. We need our project
Absolutely.
managers. And so to make it more unique is get those businesses to the people that they need to speak to.
For sure.
And
Yes.
I'll connect you.
Yep.
But how
you
do we
just
get
show
them
up,
there?
you get there. They'll show up. They'll get there. Yes.
And that model seems to have worked for us.
Yeah.
We did have 91 businesses show up a couple weeks ago
Amazing.
to this.
Yep.
So that was very exciting. We're seeing growth in that area.
Right.
But again, how do we shape shift this? So we're looking at, okay, well, maybe September would be a better time
Right.
to make the connection.
Yep.
And then what happens in a January, February setting? Would it really be an open house, or would it be like, let's get down to brass tacks and say, what are those projects
What are
and
our
what do
needs?
they look
What
like?
projects? Here's our project rollouts, whatever it may be. Yes.
Yeah, and can
Yep.
we go that approach? So we
Yep.
just keep trying to make it better for that small business community. So I need that input.
Right.
I love
Yep.
that input
Absolutely.
from the
Because
businesses.
you want to hear
say,
too, like,
Yeah.
what's working, what's not working. Yes, I do this CERT open house, or I'll have the city of Roseville and all the county employees here. But what good is it doing? It's making those connections, but are you going to lose touch between now and then? And that's on the small business itself to keep those connections. But yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes. So who have been some of your main mentors along the way? Who have been some people that have helped you get to where you are today?
Well, gosh, so many people. Typically, some folks really that come into my head are people who have worked in the human resources and DEI arena, as they understand the importance of diversity in our community, especially small business or workforce. And so Elizabeth Campbell from Ryan
Companies,
Yolanda
yep.
McIntosh from AGC now.
Yep.
We've known each other since MnDOT, so
Right.
I've traveled with her for a while.
There's nothing like walking in the room when you see Yolanda or Elizabeth or anybody, and they're just all up in arms, ready to give you a hug and ready to just so excited to see you. Yes.
Right. And on the union side, Jenny Winkler has been a great person to work with and mentor with
Yeah.
and learn from. There's just so many in my head. I bet you I could name off 40, 50
Right.
pretty easy.
Absolutely.
And I actually think of organizations almost
Yeah.
as well, like AGC or the building trades organizations,
Yep.
things like that Goodwill Easter Seals, but
Right.
as a training program
Yep.
over so there's been so much, and I flourish from that.
Yes,
I'm
yep.
standing on the shoulders of others that have
For
helped me
sure.
along the way, and have helped me, been confidential with me and built trust with me
Yes.
to then even grow even further. And you
Right.
really need that in
Yep.
order to be able to understand and grow. So
Well, and you never know. I mean, people ask me every day what works, and you never know what works today might not work tomorrow. So you can't be afraid to try new things too. I mean, I've got the podcast now. Who would have thought, 4 or 5 years ago that we're going to be sitting down with small business owners or people in general that have ties to Minnesota, that it's just getting their story out there and sharing with people who you are, what you do, and how important you are as a person in the communities to also help them grow. But at the same time, let's just get to know each other. Let's have those conversations, just trying new things. I think that's very important.
yeah, that is important, that we continuous improvement, right?
Right? And not being afraid to try something new, because you never know what works today. Like I said, might not work tomorrow. So it's always ebbs and flows, right?
That is so true. Yeah, I was thinking of another data piece that I share quite often. I'm part of the MnDOT DB collaborative.
Yes.
I've spilled that out a few times with this stat, but I love sharing, and I think it's important too. Is we typically, Minnesota we're about at 17,000 construction businesses in the state of Minnesota. Yours might be included in one of them as Sun Control.
Yes.
as a NAICS code, but
Yep.
I think they just look
Yep.
at NAICS codes
Right.
and then they figure out who businesses, right?
Yep. It's like, what's your code? Okay, here's my code. Yep, we're
Right,
good.
right. So we're usually clocking around 17,000, and I've been monitoring this for about 10 plus years. And what is really important is I always say construction is small business.
It is. Yep.
And 97% of those, 96 to 97, it changes by a few percentage points, usually a half or something, have less than 20 employees.
Right.
And 87% have less than 10 employees. So when you take, and that's more than 1/3. I forgot how many companies that is amount. But then when you look at that and you think about what is the culture of that company,
Right.
when you have a 10-person company that was built off of family and word of mouth,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
And so you might be the first newcomer walking into that business.
Right.
Or a small business wanting to do business with another small business.
Yes. Yep.
And again, it's just the intercultural and how do you integrate those folks,
Right.
and how do you integrate new business? So I find that interesting. There's about 1,000 businesses out of that 17,000 that actually make up 1/3 of our workforce.
That's crazy.
So
yeah.
and those are between about 20 companies, 20 employees to about 125
Yep.
employees, or about that. I call them emerging markets,
Emerging
even though
markets, yeah.
they might not be, but they
Right,
are.
but they
Some
are,
of them are.
because
They
they're
want to
growing,
grow.
they
They want to
wanna-
be in the
yep.
next Ryan or McMortensons
You're
and things
right.
like that,
Yep.
right? And so it's just so critical that we see small businesses as an important part of our community.
It is.
And what we can do with that, and like I said, just integration. How do you train people to
Right.
work in a small business, environment?
Yes. And how do you get the larger businesses and the smaller businesses to work together? And how do you incorporate the two is a lot of times what it is too, and especially in the communities, the counties, and the cities that we work in.
You mentioned mentors, and one of them, Karen McCabe. So McGough
Yes.
Construction does a great construction
Yep.
partnering program through AWC. Their vision. I think the city of St. Paul had something with that program, but more importantly is like, how do you mentor those businesses?
Right.
And they're doing a great job.
They are.
McGough is doing some. I know there's other companies. I can't think of them.
J.E. Dunn is. I know that
Yeah.
Knutson is. Ryan. They all have their
Yeah.
own programs now that they're starting to incorporate. And let's work together as more like an internship and mold you into getting into more of our jobs, but also to grow your business. Yeah.
Yeah. Corey and Anna, both from
Yep.
those two companies, have been great to work with too. And
Yes,
and
absolutely.
they help us with a group called Expand the Toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of stemmed from this goes back in the day where we were talking about Barb and I being at these oversight committees, and trying to say, what can we do that's different, that has intentional thought leadership topics that are
Right.
helpful to our industry.
Yes.
That is a little bit different than us kind of overseeing a project.
Right.
So we've had Expand the Toolbox as a mix of contractors, myself, AGC, and others in our industry to say, what topics do we want to bring to the
Right.
table? So
Let's have these panel discussions. Let's sit down and chat. Yes.
yeah, and you've been to them,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
it's been great to see you there. And one of our first ones is back to that data piece: is
Right.
how do you take those mid-sized companies and what is their best models and their best practices
Right.
over maybe a large corporation or a small business that's trying to still kind of work their way or figure that part out,
Yeah.
or who knows. So we brought those models and packed the place. I was at McGough actually. And then the other ones we've dealt with immigration, like, okay, we have a legal immigrant
Yep.
who used to build bridges over
Right.
in, this country. A lot of Ukrainians I've been actually talking to lately,
Okay,
a lot of
nice.
engineers and architects coming out of Ukraine that I've tried to place in our industry here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just picking up those pieces with immigration, and then technology. We spoke
Yes.
a little bit about that. We had a
Yep.
forum on that, and the last one was the generation. So
Yeah.
we're trying to, again, just bring new life to
Bring
the
things to
industry
head that are
where-
out there. Yes.
Yeah, what are businesses interested in? How can we perhaps bring over a symposium that would
For sure. And I think
address
like
that?
as a small business or as, an employee of a small business, whatever it may be, it's really important to get your processes set in place so you know your role.
Yeah.
That role may shift, it may change. Having the ability within a small business to try new things, just see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Because a lot of times when you are in those large businesses, your lane is constant. It's never going to change. It is what it is. You don't have the flexibility like you do in small business America. You know, it's the adaptability and getting things so they flow so you can incorporate it in other areas too.
That's so funny you said that, because when I coach people into the industry, I have them think about that.
Yeah.
Like, would you prefer just to do what you're doing and do it really well,
Yeah.
or would you like to be in an emerging place that maybe, oh, you're good at this, but we also need you here,
Wear
and
many
there.
hats, but also
Wear
the
many-
ones that you're not good at. I mean, and that's ownership. That's everybody's role too. Like if there's something you wear a lot of hats, if there's something you're not striving for, something you're not good at, then find somebody that is and that loves doing that and put them into the role, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
find their passion.
Yes, for sure. What do you see? I mean, with Ramsey County, with the city of Roseville, and the growth that's happening here, do you see more growth coming in, or do you see? I know it's kind of at a standstill, but where are we going in the community?
Well, the projected growth for our industry is steady at about 3%.
Yep.
And that's been in the past,
Right.
and it'll be
the future.
moving forward too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really
It is.
is a lot when
Yeah.
you look at it into the dollar amounts and the large projects that need to be done.
Yeah.
Even though we're on pause and hold, we still know infrastructure always has to be taken care of.
It does.
When we get into residential, even buildings, furnaces and air conditioners are going to break down or
Yeah.
be modified.
Right.
Lighting is going to need this and that. Roofing's going to be done.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be something going on.
It's a shift no matter what. Yeah.
Right. Right. So, but yeah, that's the projection is about a 3% growth rate. But I still think it's promising. We know it's cyclical. We know. When we look at our trade workers,
Yeah.
they're, a lot of them are still gonna be seasonally
For
laid
sure.
off and
Yep.
seasonally hired back. It's those callbacks to me that are really important.
Yeah.
Who gets called back?
Are you going to think of those people in the community? Who are you going to turn to? Are you going to turn to nationwide? Are you going to stay local? Kind of that too.
Yeah, right. And there's room for all of that. Is when do you need somebody? It's interesting that you said that, because sometimes we might get worked up about travelers coming in.
Right.
But if you have a traveler that comes in and works a 3-week job or a month and a half
They're
job,
bringing money into the economy and into the system. Yes.
yeah, and if they leave, well, we didn't bring somebody in and tell them they're going to have a job, and 6 weeks later they're laid off. So
Right.
it's that balance
It's
of
an ebb and flow for sure. Yeah.
yeah, the
Yep.
ebb and flow, and
Well, and you see a lot of the hybrid too. I mean, a lot of the communities, even though they probably should have done it through COVID, they're starting to go more hybrid. Like, let's have a living situation, a food situation, a housing situation, restaurants, retail, everything all in one building. So those people that do come into work in Minneapolis and St. Paul and Roseville, wherever they may be, have a one-stop shop to be at too. So they don't have to worry about, I've got to find a house, now I've got to find land, and I've got to buy a car. It's all right there in their own little community.
yeah, a hub. Yeah.
Yep. There's lots of those that are going up. And you see a lot of the smaller communities, the Blaine, the Lino Lakes, the Maple Groves that are exploding right now, bringing more people in to the city and to Roseville and into the area too. So that's exciting.
Adds more economic development.
Absolutely,
back to
right?
construction.
Whether people like it or not, it's still growth, and it still
Yeah.
is bringing people into Minnesota. So as a whole, there are positive sides to it too.
Yeah, that's correct.
What are some things that you've been learning or you want to see in the future in your role and as a person?
Well, I know I try to. It's some of the news I try to stay away from the
Right.
regular news.
Yep.
It's been
Let's
very
keep that
healthy for
off.
me.
Right.
But the news that I read, I'm kind of a geek on Associated General Contractors, and it's just not just Minnesota, it's
Yeah,
America. But
absolutely.
when you read their articles, you can really get a trend of our industry and understand, like, okay, I understand where this tariff might take this type of
What that might affect.
how
Yeah.
could it affect it, right? So I try to stay on top of that, and then I typically write to the state economic and employment development.
Mm-hmm.
I said that opposite, employment and economic development, but
Yep.
more importantly, the statisticians and the data folks there, just
Right.
to say what's going on in Minnesota.
Yep. How can
I
we
look
keep
at
the data
trends
points
and
and
stuff
trends
and
there?
learn.
Yep.
So it's back to this data thing.
The
in me.
analytical world. Yep.
I was thinking of two statistics. I remember Women in Construction Week. We went to Rosie at the Rails, and I believe it was, Krista Seberg put that off
Yes.
over at the Southwest Light Rail.
Yep.
But she had a data sheet of women's roles.
Yep. How
And
they've changed.
And I want to figure out if I recall this right, a woman could not open a bank account
Right.
alone
Yep.
without a male partner, or maybe even a spouse, for all I know,
Yep.
before 1974.
Yes. Yep.
And a woman couldn't own a business until 1988.
Right.
So I'm like, wait, oh my gosh!
seems like
and
just
I don't know
yesterday. I
if
don't
that's,
know,
if that's
yeah.
U.S. or if that's. I have to look
What
into
those
it.
stats are,
but
yes.
those stats are like,
And
oh
they
my
stick.
gosh!
You're like, wait a minute, what?
This feels like yesterday.
Right.
And we're just starting to recognize that.
Yep.
So, I love information like that because it helps me kind of see trends or understand the background of why things might be the way they are, and
Yeah.
how do you, again, back
Well, you
to
try
that
to back
shape shift.
engineer it and figure it all out, like
Yeah, there you go.
how
Yeah.
and where and what is this about, and not afraid to ask those questions, like where did you get this from, and how or when did that change occur, and what made it occur, and the different things like that too. Yes.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
kind of know your almost your chess game. It's
Yep.
like,
now,
okay,
now I can go on to my next step. Now I can reach that next level. Now I
figure
know.
that
Yes.
out, right? So
I think it's interesting and very important though too. I mean, when people are in a role that they're qualified for the role, they're not going to just have it handed to them, like that they're at an equal playing field where they're wanting to learn, wanting to understand, wanting to get out there, not afraid to ask those questions, but to bring something to the table that hasn't been there before. Like it could be a different thought process. It could be the way they were raised. It could be not afraid to ask, but trying to be an equal counterpart to everybody else, but also not afraid to step up and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing,
Yeah.
especially in everyday roles, right?
well, the implicit bias too
Yes.
that we all bring right
Yep.
to the
Right.
to the table, besides the environmental factors of trying to
Right.
persuade or move things forward in
Yeah.
a way that is beneficial and win-win for everybody.
Yep. What do you see for a shift in the younger generation when they're getting into the construction fields? Do you see that there's more people wanting to get into the construction world or more technology worlds, or even in our economy? Do you see that shift coming, that people are wanting to get back out there and work from home, or?
Yeah, I think the technology factor definitely is appealing to our next generation,
Right.
and it's happening. Our
Oh, for
technology
sure.
is going to change. People are, you can, I mean, some of this autonomous equipment, you can, do mining from a desk,
Yeah, right.
3 states away.
Yep.
And do that. And I think that's intriguing to people. BIM is quite the product. I've been monitoring that for a while, just seeing how that technology format, building information systems that are, there is an architectural lens to that
Yes.
software. Yet it really shows the future of what we're
does.
doing, and what you can do in 4D BIM can then turn into an artificial intelligent type of
Right.
piece that
Yep.
could turn into 3D printing, of course, of a
Definitely.
building and 3D printing of buildings are going on right now. We know that
Right.
there's housing and
Oh,
everything
no question.
happening.
Yep.
And so all that piece, I think the millennials are,
They're driving.
yeah, they're driving it and seeing that. And it's interesting too to watch the turnover rates. The older people get, there's less turnover rates.
Oh,
so
yeah. Yep.
it's looking at that. Like, I do wonder, sometimes we'll call a generation like, oh, they're going to be more nomadic or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's the truth as much as
No,
if
right.
it's just their age of them, like they want to try this, and that, and then figure out like, okay, what's my passion?
Work smarter, harder.
then-
Let's find the passion. But there also has to be people that are behind the BIM and that are behind all the machines and that are running those and making sure that everything's working. And it's not just fully automated. We're going to just go out and have all this done. There still has to be people out there connecting and making sure it's all running.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. We will always need the workforce.
Yes, right. Well, and I think that's what a lot of the older generation, I mean, the more people you talk to, they're like, well, I write everything down by hand and I have it all in here and it's all figured out. Okay, well, if you're not there, you're not in the office, you're not where you need to be, is the world still going to is it still going to happen? Is it still going to run? Whereas automated world, everything is there. Like you have your answers in front of you, just get on the
Right.
computer, get on whatever you need to and figure it out. Yeah.
Well, and the ones that are writing it down too, go back to what we talked about earlier, that
Right.
succession planning. I
Yes,
mean,
yep.
there's so much wisdom in our older population that's still working and have built skills that you can't get without experience.
No,
and
not at
it's
all.
it's not even
Right. It's a life
an arrogant
experience.
statement. It's just
Yeah.
part of life. I
Yep.
mean, right? So how do you grab that wisdom from that person before they leave? And our company's set up for that
Yes.
succession of that wisdom.
Yep.
Besides the sale of your company and
Right.
all that other piece that goes to it.
Well, and now that there's a shift, like how can you get some of the old ways and that person back into the building? Like how can you keep running it the way they want it to be run, smarter, but also to carry that forward? Like this is where we are, this is what we want to do, this is the way we've always been, and have those ways and morals and belief systems in there, but let's get that process set so we can duplicate it every other way
For
too.
the next
Yeah.
generation, right?
Yes, for sure. What has or what will be your next role? Are you going to be doing more events? Are you going to be out there still connecting in the near future, or what do you have coming up?
Well, coming up next week, we actually have our 11th annual construction hiring event.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
it's been 11 years of it, and this will be the first year I'll say that there's a little hesitation by companies. Like I think this event is gonna really give people an opportunity to communicate with some companies and
Yeah.
unions.
Yep.
We actually have 29 vendors, which
Awesome.
I'm happy
Very
about.
good.
We are sitting around 18 to 20 for a very long time because
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks are figuring out, do we want to hire right now?
Right.
But I think if we're going to see some hiring, it's going to be less than what we've seen. But that opportunity for somebody who just finished school
Yeah.
or is between jobs, to have a conversation with some folks and just figure out,
Where they're at, what they want to do.
what's going on,
Yeah.
that we thought this was important to put off. So that's going to be at the Labor's Union at Local 563.
Yep.
It's across the street from the U.S. Bank Stadium. A lot of people
Nice.
think of the Lionel Lakes Joint Apprenticeship Training
Yes.
Center.
Yep.
But this one is at downtown Minneapolis.
Nice.
So
Good.
if you hear this and you're interested, it'd be from 8 to 11 next on April 29th.
Yes.
And so we're excited just to keep this going. We do charge, we all have some unions there so that people can understand. This is a union-based job fair
Yeah.
that we've
Yep.
had. But there'll also, we do charge companies, and what we've always done then is give the proceeds to
Back
Construct
to the
Tomorrow.
union. Yep.
And
Absolutely.
Construct
Tell
Tomorrow-
people what Construct Tomorrow is.
So Construct Tomorrow is an organization that was started. I was I was one of the early members or founding members or whatever, one of the first board members. But the goal is to create an opportunity for high schoolers to come to an auditorium and try hands-on things. So to pound some nails or light up the electricians. It wouldn't be a hot wire, but how
Right.
do you
Wire
set up
nuts
a
and
wire
time
something
together, yep.
out, or walk a I-beam for the iron workers,
Yeah.
things like that, and then get some direct knowledge about that. And then get their information and say, we can send career information
Yes.
out to you.
Yep.
So we've done that for a while. I think that's in its 11th or 12th year as well,
Mm-hmm.
and doing really good. So they're statewide. They've probably served over 125,000 students throughout
Amazing.
the years. So it's a great organization
Yeah.
to just do a little give back. And so we love doing that.
And I've noticed, I've done it myself going into schools, whether it's junior highs, high schools, you always hear the teachers say, how can we reiterate to the kids or the students what they're using, they're going to use in everyday life. I'm like, okay, well, we use in graphic design, you use, a lot of math, you use a lot of English, you're speaking to people, you're talking to people. Everything that you're doing now, you might not think you're going to use it in the future, but you're going to get back and you're going to be like, gosh, why didn't I actually pay attention when I was in high school or when I was in college? You're going to use it every day, and it's going in and showing them then this is some of the cool stuff that you can do with it. Like this is, we did Lambeau Field here, or we're working on a car here. Our graphic designers are trying to plot out a logo that's out there. I know AI is coming around where they can do it for you, but those softwares still have to be written. Mm-hmm. You still have to get those kids excited about what they're learning. And any way you can, all different age levels, like high school might be how much money you're going to make, right? Or
Right.
you get to elementary and it's like, okay, this is somebody famous's car that we've done. Or on the college level, this is how you can incorporate what you're learning now into the field. And it's hands-on technology or the trades, whatever it may be. Every age limit has a different why and why they want to learn and how they can learn it too, right?
Yeah, listening to you, the key word that I kept feeling is applied math,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
'Cause so many times we're like, why does this
Where am I going to use a squared plus b squared
right?
plus equals
And
c squared, like.
excuse me. And one of the things that I try to tell students is that applied math will occur on the job, and it'll all
Absolutely.
start coming together. You're like,
Yep.
oh my
Now I
gosh, this
remember
is
this.
why,
Yep.
like trigonometry. Why would I use trigonometry? And then next thing you know, my daughter's a pipe fitter, and
Yep.
she was showing me some of her homework. Sometimes it's 2-3 pages just of a full trig problem to figure
Right.
out,
Well, and the way they learn math is a little different than how you learned it. And I learned it. I
Right.
the long division, the multiplication, all that stuff, or knowing the tables. But yeah.
And it's tied to the blueprint of it, though, so it's
Absolutely.
applied, and you can
Yep.
see it, or back to the floor cover when you're laying down
Estimating,
tile.
whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're looking at it and you can see it, and you say, oh, okay, here's the missing pieces, and this is what I
Right.
got to solve.
Well, and it's important too for having them ask those questions like, okay, not only where am I going to use this, why am I going to use this, but how can I learn more of this when I get out there? Like, construction's not always just a hammer and nail, or your electrician, or your pipe fitting. It could be, the HR, it could be the lawyer aspect, it could be graphic design, and there's so much more in those worlds that people don't always see.
Yeah, I try to tell people that too. Like,
Yeah.
hey, just because there's this trade, we're having a trade, hiring event here. This is an industry like any other industry that
Yes.
exactly what you
Yep.
said. They need an IT department, they need an
Right.
accounting department, a marketing department, and so come on down and talk to those folks. Even
Well, and
though
it's important for small businesses to show up too. I mean, I'll show up just to not only talk to the students, but you're talking to the communities and the people that are there too, because those are people in your world that you deal with every day. So it's how can you help? You might know somebody that you're talking to a student and be like, okay, I know they're hiring over here. Let's go talk to them, or just getting out there in the communities too and helping out.
Yeah, and knowing where their career might be. They might
Right.
think they want to do,
I want to be a lawyer. Okay, well, do you want to be a lawyer for J.E. Dunn? Do you want to be a lawyer for a law firm? Like, who knows where you're going to end up, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, it was super exciting to have you on. What has been one of your favorite parts about being on your first podcast?
Excuse me. One of the first parts of being on the podcast. Well, I don't know. I'm always I'm blushing right now. I can
Right?
feel it.
Yeah.
I'm shy in front of a mic, even though my family would say I'm not, because
Right. Yeah.
at home I'm I can be more private extrovert, I guess.
Yep.
But this has been really a great experience just to know how it works
Right.
and how people do this.
Yep.
I've never seen a room like this where
Nice.
you're set up to speak to people and share stories.
Right.
And I can't thank you enough for reaching out and thinking that I would be somebody that you'd be interested in
sure,
hearing
yeah.
more about, or
Yep.
or tapping what might be on my mind today,
Yep.
or with my career and the work I do.
For sure. On a fun note, what are some things outside of work, or what have been some of your favorite meals? So favorite things you like to do and favorite things you like to eat.
Oh, that's interesting. So the latest thing, one of the questions that was asked just a while ago is, what is one of your construction projects you did on your own that you like to do, right?
Absolutely.
And so one of my more prouder ones is, because I don't know a lot about electricity, but our cabin used to have 2 electrical plugs, and that was it.
Yep.
So
Oh,
it's kind of
boy.
like unplug the toaster to warm up the coffee
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? So we did that for years. And I actually did the entire electrical project
Awesome. Very
on my
cool.
own. It
Yep.
cleared out. It met all code.
Yeah.
So that
a huge
was really
step
good.
and a relief. Like, okay, I kind of do know what I'm doing.
And then now my next step is to go off grid up there.
Yeah,
So
yep.
I've been for the last year plus studying, like, what does it mean to go off grid?
For sure.
What kind of components do I need? How
Yep.
can I do this? And
Yeah.
so I find that to be a fun way to experiment in this
Mm-hmm.
industry that I'm not that I don't do the trade work, but I
Right.
can experiment a little bit. Interesting enough, if I would have gone to the trades in high school, which wasn't introduced to us,
Right.
for some reason, there's something about a laborer that appeals to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's about service.
Absolutely.
And laborers really know how to serve people well. So again, that importance of where do you find your passion?
Yep.
But they're making sure people are safe,
Yep.
making sure that the boundaries are set up so
Yeah.
the workers can work, making sure that things are cleaned up, preparing. Like I always like being the prep
Yep.
cook in the industry, you know,
Right.
prepare for the chef, right,
Yep.
and stuff. So there's transferring
Well, and you do that in your
values
role
and things
now,
that I
too,
like
for
to
sure.
do, you
Yep.
know, and that connector piece. So
Yeah.
I like the labor piece if we were going to consider that. Now meals, interestingly enough, I'm half Irish, half Lebanese.
Okay.
And so we eat Lebanese dinners about 4 times a year, maybe. That would be a lot, maybe
Yes.
3 or 4.
Yep.
Wish we did it more.
Right.
So the kids asked to, I got 4 girls, by the way.
Yep.
We were asked to, they asked to do the Lebanese dinner again. So I did homemade rolled grape leaves. They're
Nice.
called dolmas.
Yep.
You know, hummus, tabbouleh, salata, you know, all the feta cheeses and all these other things that you put out on the table.
Right. Yeah. All the good
So
stuff.
we've been eating leftovers from, that's what we had yesterday.
Perfect.
And that's so fun to reach in the fridge and try, you know, have your ethnic food
Oh,
of
yeah. Yep.
that you were born and raised with.
that
and
you
kinda
know,
had in
just
your
those
house.
tastes never go away.
Yeah,
It's like, oh,
right.
I wish I had this, or I wish I had that,
Right.
or I remember being at grandma's house. Yep.
Right. So that's one of our favorite dishes is the Lebanese dinners. And then my wife Devery, she does her Italian dish, which is always her sauce that cooks like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our family traditional things that we lean on.
For sure.
That
Yep.
we love,
The staples that are there that make the
love
memories
doing.
too.
Yeah.
Any traveling in the future? Anything fun coming up?
Well, we've been saving to go to Hawaii to see my brother. He's been there for
Very
15
cool.
years.
Wow. Amazing.
So that'll
on the Big
be
Island, or where is he at?
I think he's in Hilo.
Okay,
So
yep.
So he's on the Big Island. He's lived there 15 years. I've never gone and seen him. So we're gonna try to all go down.
Now it's time.
next March,
Oh,
and
fun.
so we're planning for that. And we're a live music couple.
Okay,
So
yep.
we see live music 2 to 4 times a month.
Nice. Who's your
Yeah.
favorite that you've seen?
Well, I'm a jam guy, so I
Okay.
love jam music.
Yep.
So Goose, The Dead, all these, you know,
Yeah.
Iggy, and you name it. People are like, who are those, you know? But just on Saturday, you know, we went and seen a gospel,
very
seen a
cool.
gospel group
Wow.
that we knew from our old church. I hadn't seen them in years, so she surprised me with that.
Oh, fun.
I'm going to Sturgill Simpson at the Armory here in a
Yep.
couple weeks. And then one daughter, I do father-daughter dates, but
Yeah.
we're doing Livingston as a great guy, and then Valerie June with another daughter.
Yep,
My
very
one
cool.
daughter likes the orchestra.
Oh, nice. So there's a wide range.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a wide range,
Yep.
so we just try to pick. And
Well, the music industry in the Twin Cities is unlike in no other. I mean, people don't realize how easily accessible any and every type of music is out there for you. Once you start learning and understanding, hey, there's First Ave, there's the Armory, there's all the different places that have all the different venues other than just Excel and everywhere else too. So
yeah,
it's
we
fun.
love the small theaters, definitely.
Yeah,
And
yep.
we go out on the road and stuff. Well,
Fun.
I've been all over the country to see shows and stuff.
Nice.
I've probably seen over 800 shows in my
Very
life.
cool. Wow.
So
Say there's a fun fact about John we didn't know.
pocket full of memories out of that.
Yeah.
That's been just part of our experience.
Do you play any music?
I played the harmonica for about 10 years
Very
and
cool.
set it down. So my nephew, though, speaking of that, he has a band called Palace.
Okay.
He just turned 17 on Sunday. He has his best friend he's grown up with is he plays with them. They just won the state tournament
Wow.
for jazz.
Oh, very cool.
We've got them 2 shows up in Two Harbors on May
Nice.
3rd.
Okay.
So we go to Two Harbors quite often.
Yep.
So he's going to play at the greenhouse up there and then at a bar
Yep.
all in one day.
For
so
all our
2
Duluth
gigs.
people listening, because there are a lot of you up
Right,
there, yes.
Right.
Yep.
So Anderson's greenhouse.
Yep.
And I'll mention a fact here. I should know his name, but Trampled by Turtles, his last name's Barry. I can't think of his first name. Used to play at the Two Harbors Anderson greenhouse way back in the day.
Yes, yep.
And so it was kind of interesting. We didn't know this, but the person who owns the greenhouse, Scott Kreck and Savannah Kreck, they were talking to the newspaper, and the newspaper person remembered Eric Berry.
Eric Berry, yes.
Eric
yeah, I was
Berry
trying to think
used
of
to
that too.
play,
I know exactly
the
who-
mandolin
yep,
player.
yep.
He used to play at their greenhouse. So I was telling the kids that, like, hey, this is
Hey, way back
this
in my
is a
day when
gateway.
yep, absolutely.
This is a gateway for you to do some shows. So we're
doors
gonna
are
have fun
opening up.
on Saturday and drive up there.
So next time when you come on, we're going to bring your harmonica on, and we're going to let
Oh,
you.
no. Too shy for that, but
We'll get it out one of these days. Maybe at an event, I'll be like, here you go, John. Well, we appreciate having you on today, and we look forward to having all our viewers check out some of the events that are going on and just not be afraid to get out in their communities, whether it's Ramsey County, whether it's Roseville, no matter where you are. Get out, meet people, and if you don't know somebody, John or I can connect you.
That's right, especially you, Karissa.
Yeah.
You know so many people now, so
Well, thank you again for coming on today, and we look forward to the future.
thank you so much, Karissa.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep.